Hello and welcome. My name is Lexi Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury beauty. Today we're going to take a look at the new Viseart Petit Pro palette in Paris Etoile or Etoile. So I was so excited to see this palette. This palette was actually due out, I want to say in October, but they had some packaging delays. So it just came out now. Look at this gorgeous packaging. You can see the Paris skyline here. You've got stars all around. And this is a Petit Pro, which means that you've got the 1 gram pans. You do have a label here with all of your information. Comes with a plastic tray. I recommend keeping this because I personally don't keep the actual box. I just keep it like this, so you don't want any dust falling out. And this is a magnetic closure, and you have a mirror here. It does come with a little plastic piece on top, and these are the shades. So I absolutely love this. This was designed by Anastasia Sparrow of Viseart, and she designed it actually for her birthday. So I was so excited to pick this one up. So this is the top row. Okay, and here's the bottom row. So I have to say, all of these shades perform beautifully on the eyes. I feel like the mattes always perform better on the eyes than they do in swatches. But let's take a look. We have a soft, it's actually like a neutral leaning warm pink. There's like a touch of peach in here, metallic shade, followed by a beige matte. Then we have it's really a deep charcoal matte. It looks almost black when you look at it here, but it's not like a true deep black. It's actually more of a deep charcoal. Then we have a deep sparkly purple. So this one has some sparkle in here. It's more of a satin with a little glitter. And you can see that the tones of this, when you blend that out, you do have some brownish tones to it. Okay, so it's not overly cool. There's some warmth to that one as well. Then we have a matte marine blue. I wouldn't quite say navy. I think it's more of a marine blue. You've got like a touch of green in there. And then we have a matte eggplant purple. And you can see this one has more of a gray base versus more of a brown base for the sparkly shade. So this one's gonna be cooler in tone. It's got a little bit more blue and gray in there. And then we have this like taupey champagne metallic. So it's like a champagne shade mixed with taupe, because there's a little bit of a brownish grayish hue in there as well. And then the last shade here is a sparkly charcoal. And I have to say, it's a gorgeous palette. And again, if you're not familiar with Viseart, they have magnetic pans here. So these just lift out. You can see you've got the little groove, so you can help lift the pan out, and you can mix and match. So this will mix and match with any of the other Petit Pro palettes. And yeah, I just think it's a fantastic little palette. So I have 3 looks I'm gonna share with you, and then let's come back and do some comparisons. We are going to use the new Viseart Paris Etoile palette. And until just reading the label, I thought that this was Paris Etoile, but it's actually just Etoile, which means star in French. And this is stunning. So we're gonna start off with this matte shade here, and this is the Rephr 16 brush. And I have the Viseart eye primer on, and I'm just gonna put this as kind of like start in the crease, but kind of put whatever's there like all over, just for a light dusting. Next, I'm going to take the Rephr 13 into the navy blue. And this is like a small crease brush. I just dabbed it on my cloth. And I'm going to use this to deepen the actual socket line here. You can see that I'm barely bending the bristles of the brush because I want a light application. So it's just like a little bit of a shadow. I'm just taking the Rephr 16 that I used before and Just lightly dusting over that. There's no additional shadow, but I just want to make sure that's smoothly blended. And I'm taking the Rephr 13 into the dark purple. And again, dabbing excess on my cloth. And I'm just going to dab a little bit of this right here in the outer corner. And Rephr 28, I'm going into the purple sparkly shade on the top. And I'm going to put this right adjacent to the purple matte. Just up to the midline there. And I'm going to take a little bit of the sparkly gray. And I'm just going to butt that right up against the purple, just a touch. And I'm going to blend those two together a little bit right here. I don't really care about seeing the gray so much. I just want a slight color difference here. And next I'm going to go into this shade right next to it. This is like kind of a like taupey shade. But you can see that it's going to be a lot brighter. And I'm going to put that here, wipe off the brush, and then kind of dust a little bit of this over to where the gray and the purple are overlapping. I'm actually just going to kind of spread some of this all the way out. Taking the 28 still, and I'm just going to get a little bit of this first shade on the tip here, and I'm just going to dab this right in the inner corner. And this shade here is a little like a soft pink champagne shade. So I think it works great for inner corner. And for the lower lash line, I'm going to take a touch of the gray. I'm wiping excess off on the back of my hand, and I'm going to go into the matte here as well. Wipe off some excess, and let's see how this does. I just want like a hint of color there. All right, so there's my first eye look. And I'm just going to, go in the crease with the 16, make sure that's good. But I'm trying to make sure I'm not digging this all the way into the socket because it's such a big brush. It's going to move stuff on the mobile lid as well. I don't usually do a brow highlight, but let's add just a touch of this the soft pink. One of my hairs fell out. Not the brush hair, my hair, but we'll just add a touch of the soft pink here. All right, and I think for liner, I'm just going to use a regular deep gray liner or almost black and add some mascara, finish my brows. I'll show you the look in a minute. So here's the final eye look from a distance. I like how when I turn versus when it's straight on, you can see either a bit more of the brighter shade versus the deeper shade because of the way that they kind of blend it together in the transition area. I really like that. All right, so I have on the Viseart eye primer, and I'm taking the Rephr 14 into this matte beige shade, and I'm just going to put this softly in the crease and go up just a touch. So today we're going to go with a little bit of a lighter look. Normally I use like 2 more colors. So I'm going to go into the sparkly purple, and this is the Rephr 02 brush, and I'm getting the powder directly on the top of the brush, just knocking off anything excess. And I'm going to put this right along the lash line here. And I'm kind of leaving the inner corner empty, so I didn't go all the way to the inner corner. And then I'm taking the side of the brush and just softening the edges of that a little bit. Okay, and whatever's left on the brush, just kind of dabbing that on the outer corner up to the crease. Next, I'm taking the side of the 02 and I'm going to go into the light pink shade, the first shade here. And I'm just going to start applying this. So I'm getting this in the inner corner and brushing this over the lid just slightly overlapping the top edges of the purple. Essentially, I just want kind of like a little bit of that purple blur by the lash line, and I'm not going to use eyeliner. That's going to be it. So this is really, in essence, a very light look. All right, so that's that. Now I am going to go in with just a little bit more of that purple, just very, very softly, and just kind of deepen that a little bit here along the lash line. All right, and I want to make the inner corner a little bit brighter, so I'm going to go into this shade down here, which really looks pretty like liquid or molten on the eyes. So I'm just going to dab that in the inner corner. All right, and that's going to be the look today. Just very light and easy, not much to it. And this is the final eye look from a distance. All right, so I have the Viseart eye primer on. We're going to start off with the Blender Pro from Sonia G, and I'm going to go into this matte shade here and just going to put this softly in the crease. And then I'm going to take the Rephr 14 into this matte shade and a little bit of the black. So I'm going to get a little bit of the black first, tap it on my hand, get a little bit of the beige, tap it on my hand just to make sure there's no loose powder, and I'm going to carefully put this in the crease. So I put the lighter beige shade down first just to make sure that you know, I think it just kind of helps blend out the deeper shade a little bit more. So I just want like a hint of shadow there. All right, so you can see it got a little deeper on my left eye. So I'm just taking the Blender Pro with nothing on it, just kind of blending that out a little bit. And just take a touch here as well. All right, so next we're going to move into the dark charcoal sparkly shade. I'm going to use the same brush, but I'm using the flattened edge of this, and just going to put this here and brush it out to the halfway point. You know what? Let's try a little bit of this with my finger as well. Can definitely see more of the sparkle that way. I actually like the effect of doing it first with the brush and then with the finger because I have softer edges over here. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So I wiped off the brush really well. I'm going to go into this shade, this like taupey champagne shade next to the gray, and we're going to put that in. This one looks almost like wet on the eye. And I'm just going to carefully put that on basically up to that point, and then I'm using my finger to kind of blend it into the gray a little bit. Wiped off the brush and just going into the crease. And for the lower lash line, I'm going to go into the gray for the outer edges and the champagne for the inner. So basically just using the same shades. This is the Sonia G Pencil 1. All right, and that's it. I'm just gonna add a touch of the pink, the first shade, right to the inner corner. I do have a little bit of the other shade there already, but just for a little added brightening. And I'm gonna finish brows, mascara, and all that, and I'll see you in a minute. And this is the final look from a distance. So I have on the Givenchy Prisme Libre foundation in 1N95. The Rare Beauty mascara is on. I actually did not use any eyeliner today. Blush is Makeup by Mario Mellow Mauve in the powder formula. The Chantecaille Pearl Lumiere Highlight. And I also have a dusting of the Chantecaille Eclat Dew powder. Lips, I have the English Petal from Burberry in the Burberry Kisses formula, topped with Tom Ford's Bare Assed lip gloss and the Givenchy brow pencil in tube. All right, so the first thing I wanted to compare it to is the Chanel quad that I think was technically a fall release and it came out this summer. I can't remember, but this is Douceur et Serenité number 378. And let's put this down here. So you can see we've got more of this red shade. We can ignore that. And you can see that this is going to be deeper, a little bit more of a mauve shade compared to the beige matte. We do have, it's a little bit softer and a little bit browner than the charcoal here, but similar. And then this is more of a violet purple. There's a little more red in it than in the Viseart. Now it also reminded me of this Suku quad. This is number 109 and this was the pre-holiday quad. And it's actually, I don't think, going to be as similar as it made me think at first. But again, you do still kind of have some gray and some purple together. So this gray here has more, it's more brown. So if you look at it here, it's actually a brown with a touch of gray. And it's got the shimmer, so it's way more brown than anything in the Viseart here, and the purple is a lot softer and lighter. The other shades don't really have anything to compare to. Just wanted to take a look at the Bobbi Brown. This is the Luxe Precious Metals palette. The colors aren't really similar except potentially this pink one. So we're going to put this pink one right up here at the top, and you can see how those compare. You can see that the Bobbi Brown is going to be a little bit, it's a little bit less peach, but has a little bit more, like it's a little bit deeper, a little bit, maybe a little browner perhaps. But they are pretty similar. It's more strongly metallic though than the Viseart, but they are pretty close. Another palette I wanted to look at is the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate palette in Moonlit Violet. So we're going to look at the 4 eyeshadow shades here. And let's see here. We'll put these, put them up here. So here's the first shade. See, that's going to be lighter, more champagne. Second shade, this one's really not going to go anywhere. So I'll just put that there because that's too light. It's a very soft kind of orchid purple. This one is more of a charcoal gray. You can see that this one has a little bit more warmth to it. And then the last shade here is going to be a deep purple. This one has a little bit of shimmer in it, but it's closer in shade to the matte one. It's actually kind of in between the two because you can see that it has more red in it than the matte in the Viseart, but it's not quite as warm as the shimmer shade in Viseart. And then this is the Viseart Violette palette. I just wanted to show you the differences here. You can see that the purples in this are more violets. They have more reddish pink tones in here, and these like taupier shades all are a little bit more plum or mauve. So there's actually no point in swatching this one because they are pretty different. This one here is the Paris Love Letter palette. And again, we don't really have anything similar with the grays or the purples, but a couple of these champagne shades are kind of similar. So we're going to swatch these lighter shades here. And we're going to start here with this one and this one up here at the top. These two, I mean, I love these shades. See how they compare. So this is the pink. You can see that it's much peachier and a bit lighter. And that's the champagne shade. So yeah, not a match. And here is the Paris Edit with the Paris Etoile. And this actually is the 1 gram sizes also. So you can mix and match the edit size with the Petit Pro also. And again, we don't really have any shades that are similar. This like shimmery pink is much cooler in tone than the one in the new Paris Etoile. I can show you that. But these purple shades are really more of a mauve shade. And I'll put this at the top so you can see the difference though in the tones. They're very different from each other. You can see this is a much more gleaming metallic shade. And just a look at the Cashmere palette that just recently came out. And they don't have any shades that go together or that match, but I feel like these palettes complement each other very well. So I think this is they're both a nice addition to have to each other. So I just think that the colors in here go very nicely with these. And this kind of just like amps it up. So I feel like this is a great everyday lighter look palette. Yes, you can, bring it darker, but if you mix in this with it, it's a little bit easier to do that. And I feel like all of the shades go beautifully together between those two palettes. So those are it for my comparisons. So you can see that the Paris Etoile palette goes up through here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These 8 here. This one is really hard to see, but that's that beige matte shade. So overall, I have to say that I really like this palette. I think that it is a great selection of colors. I'm very happy to see that, Viseart is going cooler in tones. A lot of brands now are. And that for me is something that I've really been looking forward to. But one of the things I really like about the way Viseart does their palettes is that even though they've got cooler shades in here, they also have warmer shades and they're keeping everything kind of close to the neutral spectrum. So I feel like it allows it to work better for more people. There's a wider range of people that will appreciate the color stories in here and the nuances of these shades. I also really like these palettes, how they have a mixture of different finishes. So even though off the bat, it looks like you've just got mattes and like satins or mattes and shimmers. The finishes on these shimmers are a little different. You can see that this shade here is much more vibrant of a metallic shade than something like this. And then you have more of these like shimmery matte satin blends, here and like in the charcoal. So you do have a variety of finishes. And I think, this size is great for travel. It's a great stocking stuffer. It's a great way to try out the brand and see whether you are interested in investing in more of Viseart's shadows. So I feel like any of these little palettes like the Petit Pros or the Petit 4 palettes, they're just a great introductory item. And in particular, this is my favorite of the Petit Pro sizes. I feel like the Petit Pro sizes, the ones that I have, this is just my favorite color combination. It's runs a little bit cooler than some of the others that I have. I don't have a ton of them. Let me just show you the ones I have. This one, which I hope they'll bring back, actually, this is a Petit Pro Shoo. Fantastic for summer. I think this is really awesome. It's got a mixture of cooler and warm shades in here. We have the Petit Pro 1, which I have to say I was really excited about, but is only, it's not my favorite. It's a little bit warmer than I thought it was going to be, and it's just, And then we also have the Midsummer, which I like, but this is much more like mauvey rose shades, and I prefer this one. So this is definitely my favorite of the Petit Pros that I have, and to say that I think with this color story, it's definitely going up there in my favorites from Viseart. Now keep in mind, I'm somebody who loves purple, and I love purple eyeshadows that run a little bit more blue than red. And I like how you kind of have one of each here, so you can mix and match to your desire. So I think that sums up everything for this particular palette. And you know, I think it's a fantastic deal. Muse Beauty Pro, by the way, does have 15% off the palette until December 26th. They're 15% off site-wide until the 26th. So this is included, and that's where I ordered mine from. So it's a great opportunity to get it from, you know, if you're looking to get it on sale. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this was helpful. And if you have any additional swatch requests or anything, please let me know, and I would be happy to include them in an update video. So thank you so much. Have a great day and stay safe and healthy. I'll see you soon.